Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Summary, episode 201. I am your host, Kyle. With me, as always, is Steve. Steve, good morning to you, bro. How are you doing? Liverpool, top of the league. How are you feeling? Initial thoughts?
Well, I was feeling pretty good. So I have on this classic Firmino jersey. This is one of the elite New Balance. What's this, 16, 17? Is that the year?
16, 17, yep.
Okay, this is before Bobby changed his number. So this is a number 11 Firmino.
Vintage Firmino.
Just classic. Thing fits like an absolute glove. I might go play today.
Ponytail Bobby fit.
Unbelievable. But we got a lot to cover today. I think maybe beverage of the week might be a good place to start.
Well, hit me, man. What you got?
All right, so beverage of the week, as we dip our toe into the autumn season, is a pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks.
I can't say I saw that coming.
I would imagine most folks in the chat didn't see that coming either. Also known as PSLs, and they're absolutely delicious. I get mine with oat milk instead of whatever the standard milk is, and I get half the pumps of pumpkin sauce just to save on the sugar and the calories a little bit. I also get no whipped cream so that I can get more bang for my buck. Liz says, wow. Liz, I knew you'd like that. If you're saying wow in regards to this, I figured you would. Delicious treat.
I feel like that's the key. If you go just stock PSL and get it's too sweet, right? You get that pumpkin taste, but I think if you go half on the pumps and then change up the milk, I think that might be the key. Because I've only had a handful in my life, but I know I always get less than what is on the menu. One thing I do like is the peppermint mochas, man. When Christmas time comes around, I'm up in there with that peppermint mocha.
Yeah, Starbucks is very, very, very good. It's just very expensive. I would suggest that you get a pumpkin spice latte today. I also get half decaf.
I'm already dialed in. If I get any more, I'm gonna be screwed.
Yeah, so I also get half decaf, and I've been getting them more hot lately instead of iced.
That's so unlike Steven, guys. If you know anything about Steven, I'll bring up like getting hot coffee, and he's like, "No, I get ice year round," and I'm just like, "What?"
Yeah, but lately I've done a few hots just to switch it up. Iced year round. It's a New England thing. I also wear shorts most of the year.
That's just an idiot thing.
Yeah, that's a New England thing as well. There's people, it'll be snowing, and there's people in New England wearing shorts.
But that doesn't make you any. I hope you guys realize that doesn't make you any cooler than the next guy wearing pants.
No, you quite literally are cooler.
Yeah, you're colder.
No, it's just a thing, man. It's not about being cool or not. It's just like people here
but you continue to bring
routine.
It up, the fact that you wear shorts.
This is the first time I've ever said it.
No, I'm saying right now. I'm saying like never mind. Like you felt the need to bring up the fact that you guys wear shorts in the winter when we were talking about iced coffee.
Because I think it's on the cold front. No pun intended. When we talk about people in New England, they grab their ice dunks year round. It could be negative 20 degrees. We're drinking iced coffee. It could be negative 20 degrees. A lot of the old timers are wearing shorts. Like
legends.
Not as much in like my generation or our generation, but I don't know, middle-aged people, like plumbers and stuff. They're just wearing cargo shorts, bro. Stained cargo shorts year round, and tall boots and tube socks.
That's all I was thinking when you said that. As soon as you said plumber and cargo shorts, I'm like, these mans are wearing Timbs, stained cargos, and just legendary.
Shirt tucked in, chest pocket, pens hanging out, pockets 40 years old, sagging open.
Hat with the brim bent like this.
Yes, dude. Like plumber's crack, dusty old leather belt, beer gut. Yeah, that's New England.
Absolutely timeless. Good morning to everyone in the chat. Liz, Doug, Lyle, what's going on, everyone? Make sure you smash that like button, man. Top of the league. Liverpool are top of the league. And Steve, what I would like to bring up is the fact that you look at the table and you look at Liverpool's 5 wins and 1 loss. And then you look at the other teams at the top of the table with us, Arsenal, Man City, and Villa, right? And you look at their records. Is there something you notice? Is there a pattern you notice, and something that we've been saying, really, you've been saying here on the show for probably, I don't know, 3 years now? Is there
Way
anything you
more.
notice?
Yeah, way more than 3 years. And anybody that's been with us for a while knows how I feel about losses versus draws. So when I look at the table, Man City and Arsenal both have not been defeated. Okay. 4 wins, 2 draws, 14 points each. We, however, have been defeated. That brutal loss to Forest. However, we're still top of the table. And why is that, Kyle? And that's because draws do almost nothing for you. And for the longest time, Liverpool, even the years that they did not win the title, which would be every year except one, we'll say from like 18, maybe 17, 18 on, we're typically, and this is just generally speaking, I don't know if this is true. Maybe there was one season mixed in there a couple years ago. We were the hardest team to beat. In other words, we usually had the least amount of losses for the season, but we would just run up the draws and fall short. But this year, mathematically, as you can see, Kyle, it's okay to mix in a loss here and there as long as you're winning when you're not losing and not drawing. So the math is, I'm basically just looking like a genius at this point because we've been talking about this for so long. And this is one scenario where even when I think about this season and I look at this table, I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, Man City, like, you could probably argue that they've had a better season than us so far. You could probably make that argument. And maybe even for Arsenal too. I mean, when you look at goal differential and the fact that we've only conceded 2,
it's pretty damn good.
that's where we look better. Mm-hmm. But like, if you haven't lost this season, you've had a great start to the season. And that is the case with Man City and Arsenal. It's not the case with us. But here we are.
And I think it's crazy because, Steven, you pointed this out to me last night. And again, guys, a lot of people who are very cynical are going to look at this and be like, yeah, it's just math. But we've been talking about this for years. The fact that, yes, when you get a draw, you obviously get a point. Everyone gets that. But for some reason, on years where we had less losses, we were harder to beat. Like Steven said, we found ourselves third, fourth, second. We could not get top of the table because we were playing for that draw, right? And not going all out for the win and accepting a loss every now and then. And it's just right now, it's evident. It's like, hey, we're actually top of the table and we lost a bad loss at that, right? So it's okay to lose, all right? As long as you're not blowing those other close games with a draw. Like if we drew yesterday against Wolves, man, okay, that's a huge draw. But we found a way to pull it out, right? Quick goal, 37 seconds after we made that mistake. That's a good response. That's the sign of a team that's like, okay, we cannot let the momentum swing in Wolves' favor. Let's get back even, and then let's work on the win. All right. This is how you win leagues. It's okay to lose. You're going to lose in the most competitive league in the world. Okay. But it seems like the math is mathing right now, man.
Dude,
limit those draws.
Everybody that's here knows that Kyle and I love to dip our toe into the mathematician field from time to time. And I think the big thing here is, you mentioned it, a bad loss. City and Arsenal haven't felt that pain yet, right? So they haven't lost. Right. When we lost to Forest, if any of you in the chat, or Kyle, or if you're anything like me, it was heartbreaking.
It's a horrible loss. Right.
I thought to myself, oh my God, we're going to slip behind now. Like, yeah, I'm over exaggerating a little bit in the moment. Yeah, I'm like, it's maybe not that big of a deal. But if you lose to Forest that early in the year, what was that, match week 3?
4, right?
4. Okay. You have a bad loss in the first month or your first 4 games, we'll call it. It hurts. And immediately the dread kicks in where I'm like, we are going to slip behind. We can't afford any losses. Man City and Arsenal aren't going to drop points. And you
Right.
start going spiraling down this rabbit hole. But
Yes.
here we are. Here we are, top of the league, best goal differential, only conceded 2. So who's got the best defense in the league now, Kyle?
It's not Arsenal. I'm telling you, that fact right there, the 2 goals conceded, right? And one of them is just a mistake. I mean, that mistake yesterday, it's clearly a mistake, simply down to miscommunication. Not even mad at Kanate or Allison, right? Stuff like that happens. A ball's in an awkward position. Kanate does his job, right? Usually, if the ball's rolling towards the keeper, Steve, as a defender, what are you going to do? Or even rolling towards the touch line or the byline, whatever. You're going to shield the defender off and either let it roll out of bounds or let the keeper come. I think Kanate did the right thing. I just think the ball was in an awkward scenario and they both kind of froze. And that's all
Yeah,
that
there
happened.
was no communication. That was the problem.
Yeah.
But it all happened relatively quickly. And you're right. That's like those types of things can happen. But there was also the Wolves player got the ball. He chopped it back to another player who put it in towards the middle and it deflected off someone. And Ait Nuri just happened to be there sprinting and tapped it in. A lot more happened for that goal to go in aside from just the miscommunication or the lack of communication between Allison and Kanate. Like the stars aligned for that goal. It was like a pinball. Boom, 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 boom. And then he just tapped it in. That's how I felt.
It was just like against West Ham with the ball bouncing off Kwanzaa. Same exact thing. I mean, not same exact scenario, but just something you can't really, you can't prepare for that, right? But you live and you learn. The thing that I'm noticing about the defense this year, though, bro, is we are much less vulnerable. How often this season so far, granted, you look at the teams we've played and you haven't seen it really that quality, right? I mean, maybe Chelsea, right? But you haven't seen that counterattacking quality that you're going to see or that we're going to see when you go up against Arsenal, when you go up against City, right? We haven't seen it yet. We are not vulnerable at the back this year. Not even close to as stressful as it was last year with the high line. And even yesterday, there are points in the game. And, I'm not the smartest guy when it comes to looking at tactics, right? But our entire team is in Wolves' half yesterday. Van Dijk, Kanate are literally 35 yards out from goal, but we're still not vulnerable to the counterattack. Is that down to playing a double pivot now? Do we have more support for the front guys? Like, what do you think it is? Why have we only conceded 2 goals, and why is one of those goals just a flat out mistake? Did Klopp have it
Well, you
wrong?
said Chelsea, and now you got me panicking because I'm like, I don't think we've played Chelsea.
Why
I think
don't
you meant
wait?
United.
Man United, that's what I meant.
We played Chelsea first game of the season last year, and for some reason that's stuck in my head.
Yeah, I don't know why I said Chelsea.
I think we played Chelsea first game of the season last year.
Okay. But yeah, Man United.
Well, part of it is the quality that we face, but it doesn't matter. It's the Premier League, dude. Like Wolves are bottom of the barrel and had a chance yesterday.
Yeah.
It's just such a competitive league. So the fact that we haven't played the Cities and the Arsenals and whoever, Tottenham, Chelsea.
Wait, we did play Chelsea. I knew we played Chelsea.
When?
Oyvind said, hold on, Oyvind, I'm checking it.
That was probably last season.
Are you sure?
Yeah, we haven't played Chelsea yet.
Okay, maybe we don't. I don't know.
Brentford,
Guys, I don't
United,
know. I thought we
Ipswich.
played Chelsea, but I guess
Brentford,
we didn't.
United, Ipswich, Nottingham, Bournemouth.
Oh, okay, Oyvind, I got you. We
Wolves.
played last season, yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Part of it is the quality of the opposition, number one, but still, we've seen it. Like, it's tough to keep a clean sheet in the Premier League. So what I think the difference is we played a high line and it was heavy metal football constantly. So you leave yourself, I think the players get more fatigued in that type of system and you leave yourself a bit more vulnerable. Whatever the reason, we've also had some great goalkeeper play. I will say that. Whatever the reason, it feels good to be very solid defensively again. I've said it time and time again. Typically, at least how I feel, if you have the best defense in the league, or if you have a very, very good defense, you give yourself a chance at winning the league. Like, you cannot. If you look at Arsenal last year, great defense, right? They had the best defense in the league, didn't they?
Yeah, statistically, I think least amount of goals allowed. Maybe not at the end of the season, but yeah, they're up there.
Yeah, I mean, you give yourself a chance in the end. So if we can keep this up, I mean, obviously there will be games where we will concede 2 goals. Like, these numbers are incredible right now, and it will
Mhm.
change. But it could be part of the double pivot, part of the level of opposition, and then part of the fact that we're just controlling the game more in a different style of play.
Yes.
But that's all I can't put my finger on one single thing. It's just we look good. We look better. We look less vulnerable.
And now that you brought it up, I'm actually thinking that you might be right in all of those aspects, but mainly the fact that when we are in possession, it is less heavy metal. It is less, let's sprint forward and let's just get as many people forward as possible and just try to like suffocate the opposition. It's more calm, collected, methodical, right? And so you're right. Players aren't as fatigued. And I think one thing I noticed in preseason, and I haven't been watching it as closely since the season started, but in the early stages of the season, I noticed that the effort of the players getting back was on a completely different tier than it was under Klopp. Like players are sprinting back. Like we are getting so many people behind the ball, and I think that's a real point of emphasis. Right? We're taking that energy that we had in attacking, even though our press is still phenomenal. I think our press is one of the most unsung heroes so far this season. I mean, we were suffocating Wolves yesterday. They could not get the ball out. Same against West Ham. West Ham, I mean, we did so well against West Ham, but the players have more energy to get back. And the point of emphasis is let's be calm, methodical. And if we do lose the ball, that's fine. We have 2 deep lying midfielders now who Gravenberch can get back, right? You have Van Dijk and Kanate who aren't as exhausted. I mean, the fullbacks, especially, I just feel like we have a better game plan for the Premier League under Slot. And that's no knock on Klopp. I just feel like the high line was one of the most critical things under Klopp's tenure. I mean, at least over the last 3 years he was there.
I think the other side of this, though, however, is that we're not going to score as many goals as we did in the past. That's already clear.
That's a
What
great
have we
point.
scored? 12? Is that what we've scored?
I'm not sure. But I do like
We've
that
scored
point.
12 in 6 matches. That's to me, that seems very low.
Well, so when you're looking
There
at the
has to be
stats,
a match somewhere where we pour in 4.
well, of course, but if you look at like statistically, I think peak Klopp we're averaging like 2.7, 2.8 per match, right? Um, But again, we were conceding a lot too. So you're right. I think there's a give and take. If you're more conservative offensively, you're gonna have more energy to defend, and that's kind of what's coming through now under Slot. So I think that's a great point. Doug says, "How fantastic has Ryan
Should be
Gravenberch been this
13th.
season? By the way, best midfielder in the league." And I've been seeing a lot of people say this, man. And this, right? Let's talk about it for a second because it doesn't matter what club you're a fan of. If you have a player that's in great form, you're going to get behind them. You're going to say they're the best club or the best player in the league, best player in the world. Um, but it must be said, Steve, Gravenberch has been reborn under Slot. Now you can put this down to Slot, you can put this down to position, whatever the case may be. But this man, okay, has been our best player so far. And you know what he's reminding me of? Last season, at the start of the season, Soboslai was the best player in the Premier League for the first 5 to 10 matches. All right. This is exactly the feeling I'm getting right now with Gravenberch.
I said it last week, I'll say it again. It's so wild to me, but also impressive that Slot noticed something in a player. Like, you couldn't even watch much film from Gravenberch last year. There wasn't a ton to go off. He didn't do anything at Bayern. He came here. He didn't do much of anything here. I think he may have, we looked at the numbers. He didn't have a ton of starts. He was mainly a sub. There's plenty of games he didn't even play in. And Slot, in a summer where everybody is screaming and crying for a defensive midfielder, myself included, Slot's like, nah, we're going to go with Ryan Gravenberch in that position. I'm like, what? It's crazy. He saw something, and he's getting the best out of him. I can't even believe it.
He's a completely different player, dude. He is playing like a 28-year-old veteran.
Yeah.
He's just so calm on the ball. His touch, his timing is exceptional. I mean, it's the little things, right? It's like reading a player's press and getting rid of the ball in time, not holding on to the ball too long. It's the little things like that, right? And I think it's completely down to where he's playing in the field, dude. I think he's meant for that 6 role, that pivot player, that maybe even a box to box. I just so many, and you can look at players who have benefited from it, right? Or benefited from the system change under Klopp or under Slot. You look at Luis Diaz; he's clearly benefiting. I mean, dude, I was the most critical player of Luis Diaz in the world, or the most critical person of Luis Diaz in the world at the end of last season, saying this man's not good enough. Like his conversion rate is so low. This man has shut me up this season. He's having an unbelievable year, right? But then you look at players who aren't benefiting necessarily from it. Soboslai, for example. Now, maybe I'll feel different about this if he would have scored that tap in yesterday. I mean, that's just a lucky save by Johnstone. But Soboslai has like 1 goal. I don't think he has any assists. Maybe he has 1 assist. But he is playing in his preferred role. So I don't know if it's a confidence thing or whatever the case may be. And then another example is Darwin. Thank God he scored that amazing curler. But you were talking about how Slot destroyed his confidence. I'm not going to jump to conclusions about that yet. I just think I think Slot said it best. It's hard to make all these conclusions after 6 games. You got to wait until you're 19, 20 games in to really make a firm, this is what life is going to be like under Slot.
He's only 22. What the heck?
You're talking about Soboslai?
No,
or Gravenberch?
Grav.
Because
Yeah, wait, is Soboslai 22 as well?
Dude, he's 23, I think. He's
Man,
mad young.
We got to stick with him. We got to keep.
Yeah.
We got to keep going with him.
Yeah, no. I'm not talking about giving up on Soboslai at all. I just had a thought. I was like, this guy has so much skill, and it's everything that Gravenberch is doing right. So is Soboslai, but Soboslai is lacking the timing, the touch, the confidence that Gravenberch has right now. There were so many times yesterday where I'm watching Soboslai. He made the right decision, right? He had an outside of the boot pass out to Salah, but the weight on the pass was just a little bit too weak, and the defender got there before Salah did. I'm watching that, and I'm going, that's the right pass, Soboslai. That's what I need you to be doing. But if Gravenberch makes that pass, it's pinpoint. Give Soboslai another 5 games, right? I really think, man, I just, this team has so much damn talent, bro. I know you see it. It's unbelievable how good we are.
I would like a little bit more depth. I'm still feeling like a little bit more depth would be nice.
Sure. Depth is absolutely fine. But I mean, even against West Ham, I'm watching Curtis Jones and Endo play. I mean, I love Curtis. I love Endo. We all love Endo. But you talk about the drop off right now. Not drop off, but just the difference, right? McAllister, Gravenberch to Endo and Jones. If you're a rival fan or any fan of another team, you're looking at that like, damn, they're playing their scrubs, right? But Curtis Jones might be another player who's going to benefit from this double pivot role just as much as Gravenberch. Curtis Jones against West Ham was exceptional. I'm not sure if you caught or paid attention to him as much against West Ham, but he had an assist. He almost had like 2 goals. The man, we have so much talent, bro. And this system, I think, is going to benefit so many players. And as time goes on, we're going to see that.
That was a great assist.
Phenomenal assist.
That was the best assist I've ever seen him make.
Couldn't agree more.
Just that little through ball with the touch. Wow.
Yep.
That was beautiful. And the way he turned back near midfield and carried.
He did. Yeah. Dude, he carried the ball the full length of the pitch. And you heard the announcer saying like, maybe he stayed. I think it was actually Jamie Carragher was like, oh, maybe he stayed too long on the ball there, almost loses it. He did not almost lose that. He planned that out in his head. He said, I'm going to draw the defender over to my left side and just turn and go. He is, I've been saying this for years, man. His ability on the ball is second to none. Might be one of the best on the team. He's so good on the ball, Curtis Jones.
He is. Reminds me of Genie.
Yep, exactly.
And he's been good on the ball for like 5 years.
Yep.
It's just the injuries and some inconsistency and
maybe position. Maybe position, man. Like, again, how many of these players are benefiting from having a double pivot, right? Which, a lot of people see that as like two very defensive guys. I don't think they're very defensive in this system. And I just think there's a lot more opportunity for our midfielders specifically because we don't have a lot of attacking midfield type players, bro, do we? Aside from Soboslai, everyone else is really a CM, CDM type player. You can argue Curtis Jones might fall into that attacking mid, but I think Curtis Jones is more close to like an outside, like left mid versus like playing through the middle. And I think this double pivot, when these players get into play, is benefiting them so much more. It's just a revolution, man. I just love watching these guys play.
In other news, Sepp Vandenberg. Quickly.
Oh, God, bro.
We're going to talk about Sepp Vandenberg.
The stars are aligning. Lead this one.
Yeah. Kyle, the stars are aligning with everything we've predicted, everything that I've talked about, especially as it pertains to math, draws versus wins, beverage of the week. Go get yourself one. You'll love it. You'll be thanking me later if you haven't had one. And also Sepp Vandenberg being a world-class right winger. So Kyle and I have been making what most of you believe to be a joke for a long time that Sepp Vandenberg is a great right winger. And let's be honest, he's not a right winger. We thought it was just really funny. But if any of you watched the Brentford match yesterday, the man was playing right mid and making runs in behind like a winger. He was putting in crosses from the corner. He was in the opponent's box. He was playing freaking right mid / right wing. Unreal.
What is this, bro? What is this
right.
world?
We knew it all along.
I knew it. We knew it. Like, if Salah goes to Saudi, let's just bring Sepp back. Chiesa, no. See ya. See you later, Chiesa. By the way, Chiesa, good assist midweek against West Ham. It's pretty sick, whether he meant it or not. But, dude, we called it.
He certainly didn't mean to assist that.
No, but still, it's cool.
It was still a nice, like, kind of shot near-ish on target.
Yeah, depending on the angle you looked at, it did
like a scissor kick.
Yeah. Like, he couldn't make up his mind. Like, the angle was off. Can I do a bike kick here, or do I have to like do a scissor kick or whatever? But, yeah, man, absolutely crazy. Shout out to Oyvind, Fakito, Tony. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Nelson as well, and Hannah. Good to see you guys in here, dude. The other thing I just saw here that it reminded me of, Fakito brought up Harvey Elliott. Harvey Elliott's injury. I'm surprised you haven't talked about this as much, because I know you're a big Harvey Elliott fan. Not saying we miss him or needed him or anything like that, but number one, he's not getting an appearance every day or every game, even when he was healthy. Where do you think he fits into this team when he comes back, dude? Where is Harvey Elliott playing in this system?
I think he gets subbed on for Soboslai. I feel like that's what we saw.
Like the 10, middle of the pitch.
Yeah, ish. And I think he's going to start the cup games.
Might have to.
This foot injury couldn't have come at a worse time. Foot, right? Broken foot?
Something. God,
yeah.
Is it a broken foot?
I think it was. I think it was
That's
a fracture in
unfortunate.
his foot.
God, that's unfortunate. Because he's just a type of player that needs a run of games, man.
He got a lot of fracturing his foot.
Well, that's unfortunate. Tell you what, Curtis Jones is going to get a lot more game time. Harvey Elliott, luckily he's still young, but seems like he's very injury prone, man. Seems like he's very injury. Yeah, I feel like
his leg snapped. That's all I can remember.
Well, leg snap. Now he's got a fracture in his foot, and he's
Yeah,
what,
but
20
he's only gonna miss like 5 games.
for a fracture?
Yeah, it's when's the next international break?
Oh God. Oh, don't get me started on the international breaks, bro. We have
When is
another one
that?
coming up. We just came off of one.
I think there's another one coming up soon. He'll be back after that. He's not going to miss a ton of games. He's not missing like half the year or anything.
It's absolutely unbelievable, dude. The
It's
international
unfortunate though because I wanted to see what he could do in this new system. You're right. I do love Harvey Elliott. Especially if Soboslai continues to be kind of blah. I think you could see Harvey coming on in like the 60, 65th minute.
Mm-hmm.
And if he puts in a couple good like cameos, maybe he gets a few starts in the league. And you know what he can do? He can do a lot. A magic goal here and there, a couple nice assists, some great pressing. Next thing you know, he's in the starting 11. It could happen. But this injury is not good.
No.
It's very, very bad timing.
I want to get your take on we'll switch gears to Slot here. So everyone, if you hadn't seen, Slot's just a very no-nonsense guy with his interviews post-match. So Konate, obviously, great goal yesterday against Wolves, but miscommunication with him and Allison led to the equalizer. And Gravenberch gets man of the match, but Konate, I don't know if he's joking or he's like, I could have got man of the match. And Slot's like, I think he forgot we conceded a goal. Just very like, put him in his place. Steve, do you think that's his sense of humor? Or do you think he's like legit just cold like that? I think you should unmute yourself.
Sorry. I think it's both. I think he's pissed about the goal. And it's also like kind of a little jab, a little funny jab. I think it's both.
God, he's just no nonsense. He's not. He does he remind you of Marino a little bit?
With less drama.
Oh yeah, sure.
Same idea. Maybe like an Ancelotti or like a Zidane. They're kind of just like, just business, strictly business.
I kind of love it.
It's a nice change of pace.
It is, and I respect it so much because sometimes certain players respond differently to that. And it's clear. I mean, Gravenberch might be a player where he just looks at that type of manager. He's like, oh my God, I want to perform for this guy. Or Luis Diaz looks at that and is like, damn, I want to perform for this guy. Then there's other players where it really doesn't matter what kind of manager you have. They're just going to be balling out regardless, right? Van Dijk, for example. But I personally love this. Not saying I didn't love Klopp, but it's completely different personality. But I just love it. I love that he's willing to come out in the media and just be like, yeah, Konate should probably shut up because he conceded a goal. But, we go on. What do they say? We go on, whatever, in this moment, right?
So it reminds me of the Terminator more. Yeah, like this is it, Tony. The dude's focused. He's probably feeling a lot of stress. He's probably still learning like crazy. And he just takes his job very, very seriously. And I love it. And it's very different from Klopp. And I don't think that's necessarily by design. I don't think they were like, oh, we need to bring in somebody that's different than Klopp in that sense. It's just a nice change of pace. Like Klopp's press conferences to me didn't really matter because we had seen every type of answer and every type of response he's ever had,
Yep.
It just doesn't matter. But when Slot talks, I'm like, I wonder what he's going to say,
That's so funny you say that because I never watched Klopp's press conferences ever. I find myself kind of watching Slots, which is weird. I don't really care for press conferences, but I will actually watch Slots. Like, what is this guy going to say? Is this guy going to just roast someone real quick?
I always watch, like if we play City and win or like Arsenal and win, I always watch their managers post-match press conferences because I want to hear what the excuses are and I want to hear what the reasoning is. Ten Hag, right? I like to listen to those and see like what these clowns have to say. But yeah.
Speaking of those guys, what are those guys thinking right now? Who Mikel Arteta, right? He's in the Pep Guardiola managing tree, and Pep Eh, Great manager, obviously in the argument for one of the best of all time. But how do you think these guys' egos are affected that this guy from Feyenoord comes in and is right now sitting ahead of them in the league? Granted, he has a great team to work with, but do you think, as a manager, do you think that affects your mindset and your ego going into a matchup against them? Like, do you think going up against City and Arsenal in the future, who has the upper hand? Do you think Slot, his like no nonsense, no BS, like is he just gonna ignore all the noise of, oh, this is pressure, this is my first real test, and just do what he does? Or do you think he's gonna succumb to that and maybe make the mistake that like the Artetas and the Peps have made in the past against Klopp, where they change everything because they're going up against that guy?
I don't think Pep cares. He's been here a million times. And he knows it's a very, very long season. I also think that Slot already had his first test, and some could argue that going away in the first few games of the season to Old Trafford is more stressful and more of a test than like going to the Etihad. Not that it's harder to win. I mean, it could be statistically, it could be. It's just it's a bigger rivalry for some. So he's already had a big test. I don't think Pep is phased by any of this. I don't think he cares. However, I do think somebody like Arteta could have that mindset. Because if you think about it, Arteta's been at this. I used to think like for a while, like, oh yeah, he's only been at Arsenal for a little bit, or like he's still new. He's not.
I know.
What's this fifth or sixth season?
He's been there a long time, but I have the same thought you do. I feel like this is his third year. Every year is his third year there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's in season number 6, maybe.
Yeah.
And he's won nothing. And he's like,
No, they've won a cup, haven't they?
Maybe one. Maybe one cup. Maybe. Community Shield?
No, I think they've won an FA or something. I mean, I'm not going to die on that hill, but I feel like they've won something.
Maybe one cup, maybe. But anyways, it took him a long time to get to the top, right? And yes, Slot has taken over a team that was very good, but it's not like we really strengthened. Okay? Slot didn't get to come in here and buy a ton of players. If anything, we just sold.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think it is maybe a little bit frustrating for somebody like Arteta, and this is just my guess, but he might be thinking like, man, when we play Liverpool, we really got to win. Because the reality is like, if he loses to Slot, it's not like a slap in the face or anything like that. Like Liverpool is a big club,
Sure.
Right? But it could feel like that, and it could feel like that for supporters as well. So it'll feel different than the actual reality. But there's like guys like Unai Emery, Pep, they're not phased. They don't care. One game at a time, one day at a time. But
Right.
I think somebody like Arteta might feel it. Somebody like Ange might feel it a little.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's probably a good point, I think. And the reason I ask this is because you're looking at a guy who the expectations weren't that high for Slot, right? I mean, well, in fact, actually, maybe the opposite. It depends on how you look at it. If you're comparing him to Klopp and what kind of person Klopp was, maybe not the success that Klopp had, but the kind of person Klopp was, the expectations are very high, which is why maybe I think at first he rubbed people the wrong way. People were kind of like, especially you. You were saying like, I think this guy's a little like cynical, kind of like he's might be damaging these guys' confidence. I don't know if I agree with the approach he's taken with criticizing players in public, that kind of thing, right? But I think he's being who he is. He's not going to like try to be Klopp, right? So he has his own energy and his own way about things. What I think is that City, who have held on to Pep for what, 10 years now? How long has he been there? 10 years? Something like that. They know that after Pep, like it's very hard to get someone better than that. And I think the mindset of clubs like Arsenal and City and even Villa, for example, is they're trying to hold on to all these managers as long as possible, just like we were with Klopp, right? Because there's always that thing of, oh, no one's going to match this success. I think if Slot, right, can manage to take on Arsenal and win, take on City and win, and just really even be in that conversation, I think that's what's going to upset Arteta and Pep. That it was really the Klopp versus Pep for 8 years, 9 years. But now this guy from Feyenoord, who did have success at Feyenoord, to be fair, but is coming in. I think their egos are going to get in the way, bro. And I love that. I love that shit. I want Arne Slot, who I didn't even know who the hell he was until he signed. I want him to have success here and just rub it in the face of especially Arteta. I don't like Arteta, but Pep,
That's all I want.
you know?
Yeah, that's all. I mean, like I said, I don't think Pep will care, and I honestly don't hate Pep. Like,
No.
I wouldn't say I hate. Hate's a very strong word, but like Pep is Pep. Like, right?
Yeah.
We've seen
I
some
think
great moments.
everyone knows. Just I don't. A lot of people hate Jose Mourinho. I personally love Jose Mourinho. I don't know what it is about him. Maybe that's why I love Slot so much. I really respect a no nonsense manager. But Pep's great. You can't not. There's nothing that's Pep's done that I've hated. There's things that Mikel Arteta have done that I've hated though.
Yeah,
Like
Mikel Arteta wants handouts. Like, when things don't go his way, he's the first one to like bash the referees and bash decisions. And it's like, dude, we literally lost a league title from a Rodri handball, and nobody talks about it anymore. Like, we literally lost a league title because of that.
you mean at Odegaard?
No, not last year. Rodri handball 20, whatever that was. 22, 23, 21, 22. I don't know.
But you're saying Arteta?
No. Arteta cries about a red card here for a draw or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But it's like, no, dude, we had a trophy taken from us from a poor decision. So you crying about these little moments in games, that's what bothers me about Arteta. Like, let the fans cry about it. You have a job to do.
What I want to say though, this is just me playing devil's advocate, man. Klopp would do the same thing though. If there was a bad call, Klopp would say like, "That's awful." Like he would complain on the touchline with bad calls, right? And I mean, I think everyone can understand that. No manager is just going to sit there and take it if it's a bad call. So, to that extent, I mean, I'm just saying no manager is perfect. But I feel like I haven't seen it yet. Small sample size, maybe it'll happen. I have not seen Slot get upset at all with any calls so far. I think this man's just dialed into his team.
Yeah, strictly business.
Like just directing traffic. If the ref calls something, screw it. Get back in position. You know?
I think there's an element of almost seniority. Like Pep and Klopp deserve to get a little fired up. They're some of the greatest managers of all time. They've won the biggest trophies. They've done it at multiple clubs. Okay? I think what bothers me is like people say, oh, Mikel Arteta, like he's the second best manager in the Premier League. Like maybe. I mean, I don't care to rank them now that Klopp's gone, right? It doesn't matter to me. But like, really, man, you haven't done much. You've come up short a couple times. And one year you bottled it, and then the next year we bottled it, which gave you a chance to slide into second. But I don't know. I feel like he hasn't done enough to earn the arrogance that he displays, especially in press conferences.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, dude, you got a young team with a lot of talent. Like, they need you to lock in. Stop crying. That's how I feel about Arteta. Personally, I'm not a fan.
No, I think everyone agrees with that. Like, there's a certain extent to where it's okay for a manager to complain, and then you're just kind of like, all right, stop. I think the problem with Arteta that a lot of people run into is, for me, I'm looking at both sides, right? So let's look at the bad side first. You're right. He hasn't necessarily won anything significant. He won an FA Cup, maybe a Community Shield, right? He's come in second, top four, all that, whatever. That's great. Good manager. I think for me, what really speaks to Arteta's skill is how he spearheaded this entire Arsenal rebuild and has done an exceptional job of it. I mean, I never thought Arteta was going to succeed at Arsenal. I really didn't. And he has completely transformed how they play. And now Arsenal aren't a joke anymore. Arsenal are a very competitive, good football team. So in that sense, I can see why people are saying, hey, he's a top manager, right? I mean, he is a top manager. It's Arteta, Pep, and honestly, those two right now. Slot needs to prove himself first to be even in the conversation. But
I think Emery's in there.
oh, I agree. I think
He
Emery's
just doesn't
up there
have
as
the
well.
quality to hang on for 38 games.
But look what he's done. I mean, you take I mean, they have a lot of great players, but you look at what Gerrard was doing at Aston Villa and then how Unai Emery came in and completely transformed it. Unai Emery is an excellent manager. Excellent
Yes.
manager. So Ardio here says, if you watch Slot in his interviews, he's so stereotypically Dutch, super analytical and painfully honest. 100%. I love it. I absolutely love it, dude. That's what I want. But Ten Hag, bro. How are you feeling about them holding on to Ten Hag, dude?
Dude, I
Just
don't know
because they
what
won
they're
the
doing.
FA Cup.
I don't know. I can't even believe it, man.
To me, that's
I
an
see
integrity thing.
stats of Instagram accounts that just bash United. They pop up in my feed. I don't even follow them. I don't care
They just
enough
know.
to. But like some of the stats they put out are mind blowing.
Like what?
Goal differential in 2024. Like Liverpool, Arsenal, City. They're like, I don't know, plus 30, plus 40. United, -1. Manchester United, lots would argue the biggest club in the world for one reason or another. Negative goal differential.
It's just bad
I
business.
can't even believe that Fergie still shows up to the matches. It's embarrassing, the product that they put out on the pitch.
Yo, he's hoping they hire him back, man.
Dude, it is so bad. So bad.
It's a culture, man. I really think it's a culture. I don't think it's necessarily. I mean, Ten Hag, he's hot and cold, man. Really, he's hot and cold. But every manager has been hot and cold that's taken over at Man United since Ferguson left. Every manager. There were moments where Ole was great, and then there's moments where he's ass, and everyone's calling, "Hey, stay there forever." Same thing with Ten Hag. I mean, what
I haven't
think
seen any greatness.
No, not greatness, but like periods where they were just really good. Right? Really good. And I think it's a culture thing, but even the players they bring in aren't bad players, right? But they're not attracting the type of personnel that's going to bring your club to the next level. They're attracting the type of personnel that want a big payday, right? And that, in my opinion, have big egos, right? And they come into this culture that has almost the same mindset of just pessimism and just it's not a winning culture right now, and it's destroying them. Right? They're in this purgatory between we have great players, high expectation, and a -1 goal differential in a whole year. Like these players are just satisfied with getting paid and going out and playing. They're not motivated to win, and that's a culture thing. I feel like I think
That's
Man
a
United
managerial thing.
managerial too, right? But also culture. I think I really do think it's culture, and that's why you'll have periods of good play and then ultimately just sink right back into where you are as a club. That's my opinion. I think it's always been culture at Man United. You have guys with huge egos who expect big paydays, and I think that's why when you have young guys coming up, look at Mainu. That's why Mainu is such a standout player because this guy's motivated. He came through the academy. He's 18 years old. This kid's like, I'm want to play. I want to be great. That's why he's the best player on their team right now. He doesn't have a huge contract. He has no expectations. He's just playing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, dude. Like I think about the players that they've signed. All right, let's just go like Sancho. Total catastrophe. Anthony, the worst player in the league. That's almost 200 million right there. That's like 170 million. Varane, retired. Casemiro, awful. I'm just like, think about how crazy this is. It's mind-blowing, dude.
I know, man.
Mazraoui, he's going to save you? Onana? Delit, solid signing, but he's one of those guys that wants to get paid, and he's going to jump around from big club to big club to big club.
Yep.
Ajax, Juventus, Bayern, right?
Yep.
Now here, something like that.
Yeah, that's exactly
4
it.
huge clubs in 5 years. Come on.
Yep.
That's not the type of guy you want to bring in.
No.
It's not going to do anything for you. Unreal.
But the thing is, that's their only option. They can't attract other players. So at a certain point, you have to settle. And that's a culture thing. That's what that's what I keep coming back to. Because obviously, when you're in negotiations to go to a club, the player has to think, do I want to go to that club? Right? The club is selling the agent on the culture and the team. Dude, the only thing Man United has going for them is the paycheck. They're going to pay these players a lot of money. They don't have a winning culture. Nobody wants to go to Man United. That's why you're getting a lot of players on the back half of their career, because you can pay the teams they were at, the successful teams, either don't want to give them another big contract or they're not good enough to play there anymore. So, hey, where can I go and still get a big paycheck and play for a quote unquote big team? Let me go to Man United and let me just check out in my glory days. You don't see any motivation from that team, dude.
I understand the Varane and Casemiro signings, and I don't think they were bad signings. But you're bringing them into a dog shit culture. And let's be honest, Kyle, both of them are great players, but neither of them are like, I don't know how to put this.
I know exactly what you're trying to say.
Leaders, vocal leaders that are going to transform a club and teach these young players how to build that winning pedigree.
Right.
Neither of them are like that. They are excellent pieces in a well-oiled machine that included Modric, Kroos, Ronaldo, Bale, these world class, some of the best players of all time. Ramos. Those are the leaders.
Right.
Those are the leaders. These guys were just excellent in their roles. And like even Højlund, what did he cost, Kyle? 80 million?
An absurd amount of money.
I haven't even seen him. He's hurt. Where is he?
Don't know.
Xerxes, Kyle,
bro.
Xerxes. Manchester United is playing against Liverpool and they're starting Xerxes. They are in shambles, Kyle, and I love it. Every day I wake up, I am happy that we are not Manchester United. They are awful, and their manager is delusional. And I'm going off the rails now because he keeps saying, what does he say? We got to trust the process, or
yeah,
not the process. It's
the young players. He said something.
Stick to the plan. He says, stick to the plan over and over and over. There's no plan.
You don't
Eric.
have a plan.
You're hanging on by a thread, hoping you don't get tossed. You're going to end up at Galatasaray after this.
Oh my God, that's the funniest thing I think you've ever said. He's going to be at Fenerbahce, bro.
Dude, no, that's where Mourinho is.
Oh, shit. Never mind. Dude, I just think that the entire organization is hanging on by a thread. They have enough quality to keep them somewhat relevant in the Premier League, right? With the quality they have, they're always going to be there, right? They're going to be competitive in big games. But they have the same, maybe not the same exact problem, but they're struggling with the same things that Chelsea are struggling with, right? Chelsea, their selling point is we're going to give you a 9-year contract, right? If you're a player, you're going to say yes to that, right? Because even if something happens and they have to buy out of your contract, that's still a lot of money you're going to get. You're secured. You're set for life with a 9-year contract, all right? And Man United are like, we're going to give you $250,000 a week or pounds a week to sit on the bench and rot. It's just, that's what they're doing, because they don't have no one's saying in the meetings with the agent, come to Man United in trophies. They're getting laughed out of the office if they say that. Okay? And I love it. Keep it going, guys, man. Keep it going.
I think this is huge. And this is before we get into closing thoughts. I'm surprised the likes of Beckham, Cantona, etc. now have little to do with the club. Surely they'd help with the winning mentality. I think about guys like Rooney, Rio, legends.
Gary Neville.
Yeah,
He's
like
a little more involved, but
I mean, these guys, Rio and Gary, they have other careers, but yeah, like Cantona. I think Cantona might be there. No, somebody's there. Oh, Ruud van Nistelrooy. Okay, decent, but like bring back these guys and change the mentality of the club and get Eric. I want Eric Ten Hag to stay, but do you think, Kyle, does anyone in that building think there's any chance that Eric Ten Hag is going to turn things around?
I think they're praying that it happens, bro. And I'm telling you, they are so shaky right now. The entire organization is so shaky and on literally just standing on one leg. That's the reason they were going to fire Ten Hag before the FA Cup final. And when he won, they're like, okay, maybe we keep him. That shows such a lack of conviction and confidence in your decision making. You're just literally throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. That's all they're doing.
Oh my God, Kyle, we have to talk about this.
What?
Casemiro, 350K. Bruno Fernandes, 300K. Marcus Rashford, 300K. Mason Mount, Kyle, 250K. Ready? Anthony, 200K. De Ligt, 195. Harry Maguire, 190. Sancho, 150. Eriksson, 150. Shaw, 150. Mazraoui, 135. Onana, 120. Lissandro Martinez, 120. Ugarte, 120. Lindelof, 120. Lenny Yoro, 115. Xerxes, 105.
They're paying an 18-year-old would you say 115?
For Yoro.
So think about that. His next contract extension, if he gets one, he's going to be what, 22, 23? They're going to have to give him 200K plus. Then
Mason Mount, 250K.
It's just ridiculous, dude. That's absolutely ridiculous for a player that doesn't start. Okay?
No, he's hurt. He's not even there. He's
I don't know.
I
don't know what's going on with him, dude.
No, he keeps getting hurt. He might not be alive. I hope he's alive.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying. The only pull they have, 350 for Casemiro. Let's just look at that for a second, okay? That is just Casemiro looking at that saying, oh, I can't turn that down. What am I going to do? Go to a winning club and make 200? No, I'm going to go make 350 at Man United.
He's under contract for 2 more years. Holy moly.
It's just ridiculous.
And Rashford's going to be making 300K till 2028. 4 more years of Rashford making 300K doing nothing.
And let me just say one more thing. Bruno Fernandes as your captain. All right. So let's take it back 2 or 3 years. We both felt, and to a certain extent, actually, no, not really, not anymore. When Bruno Fernandes first made that United transfer, first 2-3 seasons he was there, he's excellent. Would have taken him in our Liverpool squad, no question. He was very, very good. He was getting 15 goals, 15 assists a season. He's a very good player. But as your captain, as your leader, that is the exact opposite person you want as your captain. He's a crybaby. I don't know. I think that just sets a terrible example when that player is your captain, dude. He's their head captain, right? It's not like Rashford then him. It's him and then whoever else. He's the captain.
It was Maguire.
That's a joke. I think, dude, to me, it's just, you just compare captains, Van Dijk versus Bruno Fernandes. Tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, it's enough about Man United, man.
Bro, I love it. I like transitioning talking about Man United. Steve, closing thoughts, bro.
Top of the league, man. It feels great. Who do we play next?
Oh god, who do we play next, bro?
Bologna, maybe.
Might be right.
Let's see.
Bologna, Arsenal, City, isn't?
Yeah, Bologna Wednesday, then Palace.
Oh, Palace. Yeah.
Then there's a couple weeks of a break. We got Chelsea, then Leipzig, then Arsenal, then Brighton. Whoa.
Yeah, no, it gets hard.
Then Brighton again, then Leverkusen, then Villa. Holy moly. Then Southampton. Okay, little break.
Little
then
break.
Real Madrid, then Man City, then Newcastle, then the Merseyside. Oh my goodness.
Yo, it's gonna be epic, man.
This is
Oh
going
my
to be
God.
the craziest run of games in the history of the club.
Make or break. Make or break for this club, dude. Unbelievable. Bologna on Wednesday. Just carry this momentum, bro. But it's going to be a test. It's going to be a real test going into this like winter time frame, man. It's everyone needs to be on deck. Everyone needs to be playing at their absolute best. Oh my God. One more thing. My closing thought is, saw someone in the media finally say it about Allison. He cannot be getting injured this much. I've never seen a keeper get injured as much as him. There's no other keeper in the world that's injured as often as Allison is injured. And in that sense, I mean, he is the best keeper in the world for me. But in that sense, maybe that's why Mama Dashvili was brought in. Like, all right, look, we're preparing to let you go. You're getting older. You're only going to get more injury prone. Kelleher wants to leave. This is just a thought I had because someone finally said it. Everyone's thinking it. Allison shouldn't be injured this often. But the guy has gone through like multiple seasons where he's missed at least like 10 games or something. So, hey, that's just my thought, Steve. Thanks to everyone for being here. Shout out to everyone in the chat, all our channel members. Thank you very much. Sorry about the time change. But every week, we're back, guys. We'll see you later. Steve, thanks for being here. Until next time, Reds, take care.